So at this point, DIENOS has been basically done for about 2 months, maybe more, and I've been meaning to release it just to get it over with, but I also just moved back across the country to a new apartment, started another new job during a pandemic, so I haven't really gotten around to that, been kind of busy. That being said, DIENOS is out right now on itch.io for a free download, and I just wanted to walk you through the final changes and additions I ended up making to the game. Most of this footage was filmed like 2 months ago, once again, maybe more, so if I don't seem like I know what I'm talking about, that's because I don't remember anything that I recorded. So the first things I did all had to do with setting up the main menu to be final. Here in the background, which you've been watching, I've been adding in a way for the player to choose between using a mouse and keyboard and an Xbox One controller. The game was originally set up to be played with an Xbox One controller only, but when I realized that I was going to release the game, I also realized that makes no sense because different computers have different settings and bindings for controller support. So, my game would only be playable on Mac with a wireless Xbox One controller, which means nobody would be able to play it unless they had those super specific requirements. Now, the game supports mouse and keyboard too, but it's really janky, but at least it's more playable across the board. The recommended way to play, my recommended way to play, is with an Xbox controller on Mac. It's actually way easier, also feels better, looks better, all that stuff. The next thing I decided to do was add an instructions menu, just showing what the controls do, how to play, what the power-ups do, things like that. So to do that, I had to add another button to the main menu that loaded in another scene, the instructions scene. And then from there, I just added a bunch of static info on that page, and it looks awful because I have no graphic design ability or patience, but I figured it was better than just tossing people to the wolves and having them figure it out on their own. I figured there should be some info somewhere. Like I said, all the information on that page is static, and then the only thing that's not static on that page is there's a button at the bottom to bring you back to the main menu. It's pretty simple. After that, I realized I had to update the game controller in a pretty major way. Up until this point, the game wasn't actually endless. I think there were like 5 or 6 rounds that were hard-coded and had predetermined amounts of enemies spawn in. But the kind of point of the game is that you want to see how long you can survive in the arena, so I thought the game should actually go on infinitely in order to be fun. Now the amount of enemies increases, I believe, every 2 rounds, and it's by a percentage based on the round number you're on. And the game could technically go on forever, but it does get pretty out of hand pretty quickly now. A ton of enemies will be spawning in by the time you make it past a few rounds. As of right now, with 4 or 5 people have played the game, the high score is round 6. Maybe if I ever had a leaderboard and update down the line, that'll still be the high score. I don't know, it gets pretty hard. After getting the game controller in working order, I realized the player should probably know how many enemies are left in each round and what round they're actually on. So I spent a little time adding a round counter and an enemy counter into the UI and getting that working correctly. These basically work the same way as the health bar I added earlier in development, but instead of scaling an image based on text, we're changing text based on text, so it's actually even easier to accomplish. From there, I basically just wanted to make one final small change to the game. I wanted the game to feel a little more chunky, so I changed up the camera shake to also be activated every time the player hits an enemy with a projectile. I think this adds in a good amount of game feel and makes the game seem a little more chaotic in general, which I think is a good thing overall. So that was it. After all those changes, the game was as complete as I was going to get it. I think for a first game / learning experience, it turned out pretty well, but because I was learning as I was going, the game really suffers from having a garbage infrastructure that was really hard to go back and change things in. I'm glad it's done, though. Obviously, I could add in a ton more, and there's some ideas that I had, and there's a lot of polish that it needs, but I think it's good enough for now, because I just wanted to get it done and released. And also, I think I learned a lot to make an actually good game on my next go-around, whatever or whenever that may be. So, yeah. DIENOS is out now on itch.io, which is a free indie dev platform where you can release games and talk about games. The link is in the description of this video, and the download instructions are on the game's page. So download it, play it, and good luck in the DIENOS arena. If you have any feedback, let me know. Comment on the game's page, comment on the YouTube video. And I'd be happy if like 3 people downloaded the game and played it. That would be worth it to me. So enjoy. Peace out.